Yeah, it's House Bill 257, and what it is, it's more of a remediation bill, and it's success through remediation. And what it entails is that all kindergarten children throughout the state will be assessed upon entering kindergarten. And this is where the governor comes in because she is paying for those assessments through the Ped Department. And therefore, if students transfer from one district to another, you have that base data that they can start on, and they have something that they can start their children with. Basically, what it does is that it starts at kindergarten, and that's where the remediation starts. And it will be remediation from kindergarten all the way through second and through third. And if they're not proficient at third grade, is when they will be retained. Only once can they be retained. And I want to be very specific about that and have that everybody has clarification. All through this bill, there is times specific for remediation at each grade level, and also there's about 7 parts of the bill, I can't remember it specifically now at this time, where parents will be asked to come in and so that they may understand where their children's reading level is, and the possibility of retention at the third grade if all of these interventions are not being done. The most important part of the bill is that it has to do with 95% of attendance. And if children are not attending 95% of the school year, there's going to be a very much of a possibility that, that they're going to have to be retained, because if they're not in school, they're not learning.
Now, there's going to be, I'm sure there's going to be some pushback among other Democrats. They've got competing bills. They're not crazy about this bill or the governor's involvement in it.
That's right.
How are you going to fight back against that?
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do here is that I think the Democrats have a responsibility. The unions are the ones that are pushing back on this, and I think they have a responsibility to our children to take a close look at all the bills that are being proposed. Mine was started at least 3 sessions ago, and now they're all piggybacking on it and trying to come up with their own remediation. And I think, the negativity that they're trying to promote is that it's a retention bill, and it's not a retention bill. It's a completely new act.
Okay. And there's going to be a companion bill in the Senate?
Yes, and the companion bill is being carried by a Republican, and it's Kay Kernan, and she's also a retired educator.
All right. And if it's not a retention bill, but it still has retention in the name of it, it's called promotion through retention?
Well, it's an intervention. No, my bill is mostly about intervention. And of course, the retention does come at the third grade level.
And it's basically sort of what you did in the last session, right? Although it's going to, I don't remember this kindergarten provision where the kids were going to be monitored by the time they're in kindergarten.
Yes, it was introduced last time, and I think the greatest concern at that time was that the parents were not involved as much as they thought they should. This one is very different because now the parents have to sign a form that they do not want their child retained, and they have every opportunity to allow them to go on into the upper grades. What happens is that children start to read in a content area. And yes, you can have the basics. You can have the basics of learning how to read from K to third. But if they don't get to where they can be able to read in the content area, that's where you're starting to have your dropouts.
What do you think the chances are of this becoming law, your bill?
I'm going to do everything in my power to try to make it become law, and I have support on the Republican side, and I have support from the governor.
Do you think the politics might get in the way of this thing?
It's very possible. Politics always do. And I'm sure that the unions are going to have a lot of clawbacks on that. And I don't know if they ran, especially in the House now that we have a lot of union members now. And I'm not sure if those are the biggest concern. They would not sign on my bill at all. Mimi nor none of the Albuquerque people would sign on it that are in the Education Committee. And I think it's because it's a union issue. And if it's a union issue, I'm not afraid to challenge it.
Do we have the votes to get past all those folks?
It's got to go to education, and then of course it goes to judiciary. And so I'm working the education members. I'm trying to inform them about what the bill is like, and so that they become informed. And I'm also going to discuss it in caucus.
Would you be willing to blast it?
Yes.
Okay. Representative Garcia, thank you for your time.
Thank you.